And Wenzel joins us now with more. And so this week started with more announcements from the ANC. So who else is in now? And considering that they had already negotiated enough backing to get lawmakers to vote Ramaphosa back in on Friday, why is the ANC still chasing allies?
So a large part of this basically looks like it's optics. We have the ANC in the Government of National Unity, so that's number one. The DA number two, the IFP number three, the PA who announced on Friday basically that they were in, and then now the Good Party is also in, so that's five. And as you said correctly, 273 seats. So why do they need more allies? But they themselves saying they are still talking. And some of this largely is optics because of the coupling with the DA, the natural kind of opposition, the DA seen as being the party of white power, and some of the racist politics that carry over from the former apartheid government. And of course, the labor laws that they have very publicly been against, the wage bill, the basic minimum wage. So they're not seen as particularly pro-poor, which the ANC is, which we have a big problem with poverty. We have a big problem, with unemployment. So how do you then enter into a marriage of convenience, as Julius Malema of the EFF said, with a party that basically opposes that, does not apologize for opposing that, and is very vocal about it? So you pull in as many of the other parties as you can to balance how this looks and how this makes the general voting public feel about the fact that you have now basically joined forces with the enemy. And the enemy from these ideological standpoints and these bare bones kind of grassroots bread and butter real issues on the ground. So the ANC then saying, look, it's not just the DA, it's Party X and Party Y and Party Z and Party F and Party G, so that you have that whole appearance of we're not just in this with the DA. But
So,
of course they are.
so with the DA now no longer being the opposition, what's left? What's happening on the opposition side? Is it consolidating itself as well?
So indeed it is. And again on Friday, in fact, in the morning, an hour before the first session of the National Assembly, constituting the new parliament, an hour before, Julius Malema had a press briefing with a number of the other smaller parties, and they announced that they were starting the Progressive Caucus, and that the Progressive Caucus was really going to stand against everything that they believed this new ANC-DA marriage meant. Again, poor, pro-poor, talking about land issues, talking about race and parity and economics, and all those things that people are really concerned about. So, on the one hand, we have the economics of, Joe, every person in South Africa, which is putting food on the table. And on the other hand, we have the economics of big business. And this is where the MK has now also announced that they are joining forces with the Progressive Caucus. They also very strongly stated that they wanted nothing to do with the sellout ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa, very strongly linking not just the ANC, but the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa to an ANC that has moved very far from where it began and has moved very far from being the ANC of the people, from being the pro-poor ANC, the ANC that wanted human rights for all and that wanted to pay attention to especially the needs of African South Africans, considering where they come from the apartheid era. And of course, we have Jacob Zuma saying, look, we're still saying the elections were rigged. We are still saying that we raised issues with the IEC that were not addressed, and raising the fact that the IEC had 7 days to finalize the vote and could have taken that time to potentially do a recount, but that it chose not to, and saying that they are being very peaceful despite narratives to the contrary from their enemies. the words of Jacob Zuma and the MK party, they're using peaceful protest. They went to the IEC, they went to the Constitutional Court, and they boycotted the first session of cabinet, peaceful protest, and he says they will continue in that manner, despite what anybody thinks.
And Wenzel, thank you so much for giving us that breakdown at the start of the week of the shifts currently underway in South Africa's volatile political landscape following the ANC losing its parliamentary majority in last month's vote.